is Essen 2015, and we met Isaac Vega.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys?
How are you doing here in Essen?
I am doing great. It's my first Essen. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just so awesome to meet so many people from so many different places that are so enthusiastic about our games. And it's just really humbling to see people coming up and saying, "Oh, I listen to the podcast. Oh, I love your games." And it's just like, "You're from where? Oh my gosh! I can't believe that those things are making fun for people all over the world." It's just amazing to see that.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, that's great, really. I'm really glad to see you this year in Essen because we didn't see you last year, so which is great.
Yeah, it's fun to be here. We were actually didn't know if we were going to be here until about 2 months ago, so it was pretty last minute. And luckily, with now our acquisition with F2Z, they were able to squeeze us in here and get us in here, which is just some of the nice perks that we're going to be getting now being part of that family. So next year we're going to have a lot more space here too, so I'm very excited about that. And we look pretty slick even with the small space that we have here, so it's really nice.
Though you got already third hall, which is like the main hall, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice to be in this hall. Every booth space here looks really nice. I was telling people that one of the main differences between here and Gen Con is that everybody is like, every booth is just spot on, perfect, very, very professional. It's wonderful.
Great. Isaac, do you mind telling a few words about yourself?
No, I'm Isaac, the lead play tester for Plaid Hat Games. I'm also an art director at Plaid Hat Games. I started with City of Remnants, and then I moved on to games like BioShock, Video Game High School. My biggest success here at the company has been obviously Dead of Winter, and then my most recently is Asus is doing really well as well, and it's been a blast. I've been working with Plaid Hat Games for about 5 years, 2 years full time, and every year has been a wonderful, wonderful experience, and it's so cool to see the company grow from where it was to where it is now, and being a part of that and helping that grow. So it's been a lot of fun.
Definitely. So you have been in Plaid Hat 5 years. I know that you didn't design games for a long time before that. Yeah. How did it all start?
Well, I actually moved back to Ohio and met with some of my old friends that I had in high school and stuff, and they brought me into the world of board gaming, which I never knew anything about, and I got really excited and was like, this is a lot of fun. It's a great way for us to spend time together. And about 6 months in, I was like, I'm going to design my own board game. Why not? It looks like I can do this, cut some paper and do some stuff. It'll be fun. So I tried that, and my mom knew I was doing that at the time. So she went. She knew this boy at church, which happened to be Colby, and she's like, "Oh, I know this boy at church. He makes board games." And I'm like, "Sure you do, Mom. Whatever." And she brought home a business card one day, and I was like, "Okay, maybe he's more legitimate than I thought." I looked him up, and I saw some information about Summoner Wars. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll meet with him and see what happens and show him my game design. So I showed him my first game, and later I find out that he thinks it's terrible. But he was really nice about it at the time and encouraged me to continue designing. And then I went on to about 2 months getting to know him. I pitched to him City of Remnants, and I was like, hey, do you think this sounds interesting? And he's like, stop what you're doing on that other game and start working on this one because this one sounds really cool. So I was really enthusiastic about that opportunity, made that prototype really, really quickly, and he signed it. And from that point on, I was just, I have to take every opportunity I can to be closer and closer to this company and the development of this company. And from that point on, I was just like, game design, and it became a huge priority for me. And luckily, it's been able to be something that supports me as a career, because in this industry, sometimes it's very hard for a designer to do that.
So, and you became a lead designer of the company in a really, really short time. So that actually means that you are good at that, and that Colby believes in you, right?
Yes. It's been very nice to work with this team, and for the team to have the trust in me that they do, and to be able to produce the games that we do. And it was lucky because it was a very, very small company when I joined it, so being able to influence a lot of those development things and seeing the company grow has allowed me to kind of grow with the company and learn as I go and be a lot more influential than I probably would have been if I was at a bigger company. So it was a lot of fun being able to do that, and hopefully and gladly, Colby believed in my talents, and we were able to collaborate on a lot of projects and make the company that we have now. So it's been a lot of fun.
Great, great. And you are art director of the company.
Yes.
That sounds really fascinating.
I love it so much. Like, if I didn't design games at all, I would be perfectly happy just being an art director at the company. And how that happened was that Colby had been kind of like the guy that was in charge of the artist beforehand, and he was getting the artist to work on Dead of Winter, and I was seeing the art, and I was like, no, not this time. I'm not gonna let it happen. So I was just like, I decided to contact Fernanda, who was an artist that I found on DeviantArt, and she's the artist that we have now for Dead of Winter and Ashes. And I told her, you have a job. We're going to have you work on this thing. And I had her work on the project before Colby even knew about it, and then showed him, this is what we need to be doing. And then he's like, okay, so you can go ahead and take over this. You obviously have more enthusiasm for that. And since then, I've been pretty much in charge of the look and feel of the new projects that are coming up on the company. So it's been very, very fun doing that. It's such a passion of mine to have things look a certain way and bring a new style to board games and try to make things look really slick and interesting. And it's very, very important to the theme and the feel of our company now.
Well, to me, it sounds like something where you need, I don't know, certain education or work experience, or at least art theory, maybe.
I know that other people in that kind of field do, but I think a lot of people in the board game industry, it's about learning as you go. With anything, you get the more mistakes that you make, you learn from, and you try to learn from your failures and move forward. And being a good designer is all about failing and failing quickly and figuring out what doesn't work in order to get to what works. And I think that also helps in business and also helps in art direction and all of those things, and figuring out, kind of trusting your gut and trusting your feelings, and also listening to the people around you that know more than you and have experiences too, and figuring out what to pick and choose and how to move forward from there.
Right. I already forgot. You made 2 games in collaboration with others, and there are a few games that you made on your own. What are the difference in the process, and which one you like more?
It's a different process, but sometimes it's harder because you're not always on the same schedule. You're farther away from each other, and there's different priorities that people have in different times. Personally, at this point, I kind of prefer working on projects as myself, because it lets me completely control time periods and things like that. And I tend to have a very specific, overwhelming vision, and it tends to override a lot of projects. And there's so many things that I have in mind that I want to do, but it doesn't mean that I would never work with a designer again, because there's always interesting things that come from collaborating as well. There's a lot of cool stuff that now that we have Jerry as part of the office more, it's just being able to talk to him about some of my ideas has brought more ideas. So it's always fun to have other designers around, because it's kind of like we all think in the same but in a different way, and it just kind of all melts together really nicely.
But how do you decide which game design to make on your own, which in collaboration, or how these kind of collaborations happen?
I think it all depends on the project. It depends on where you feel like, oh, do you have a solid grasp on a project, or are you inspired by someone else's project? And it's like, and you want to work on that project with them. So it just all stems from different experiences, and understanding what kind of audience you're going for, and seeing where you can pull from there too.
Where do you get all the ideas for the games?
Oh my gosh, random things. Like, I can sometimes think of games in the shower, or I dream about a game, or I sit down to play a game at a convention like this, and it's like, oh, okay, this has an idea for another game. Like, this is good, but it could be like this, and it inspires things. Just funny conversations that we'll have at dinner sometimes can inspire games. It's so funny how many games we've tried to design at dinner time after a convention because just like ridiculous stuff that would never work. But just random things.
Do you need to write them down whenever you get the flashes, or they just stick to your mind?
Well, I write them down in my way. If anybody ever saw my notebooks, they would think I'm a crazy person because they're all scribbles and writings and just random things that I would only understand. It's kind of for my brain to throw up on a piece of paper and just like have that come out in some sort of way, and then kind of like form everything in my mind, and then eventually get to the computer and just make the game. I tend to not write rules beforehand because I'm a terrible writer, but and then actual final rules is actually written by Colby for most of the time because I'm just throwing ideas and things down on paper and making the prototypes and figuring out the game before I spend a lot of time making out all the text.
Great. So, sorry. Can you tell what is the hardest thing in designing, or maybe it's something that you enjoy most?
The hardest thing in designing is listening to yourself and listening to other people and learning who's right. And that takes a long time, and sometimes you still don't know how to filter those things. And what I say is that trust your gut, trust to see, and trust smiles. Measure your success with smiles, because if people are enjoying and smiling in the game, that's the entire point of what we do. We make board games to have people have enjoyment and have them have fun. And if they're having fun without you trying to force it, then you're doing something right. And my favorite thing about being a board game designer is the fact that I do get to make people have a good time. I mean, we get to be part of an industry that is bringing joy to people's lives and bringing excitement into their lives, and something for them to communicate with other people. What's fun about board games outside of other forms of entertainment is that it requires you to spend time with other people, and that is always a wonderful thing because it brings people together, and I enjoy being a part of that process because it's so much fun for me to get to meet and experience board games with new people.
That's great. So you've designed Dead of Winter, which is like super duper popular and loved. Do you feel, let's say, pressure of the fans that you can't let them down? Do you feel certain pressure when designing new games?
Oh yeah, there's definitely pressure when you have any sort of success, wanting to repeat that success and do it over and over again and have people enjoy your new products. But at the same time too, we have a very loyal fan base, we have a very forgiving fan base, and we have very wonderful people that we get to work with, and everything that we do is we always have cheerleaders for it. So it's if I ever get down, I have a lot of other people that inspire me and help me get back up, and that's what's wonderful about this industry. There's so many people rooting for you, and not necessarily, even if you do trip, there's people rooting for you to get back up and do something awesome. So I'm very excited about anything that I work on in the future, because every game lets me learn something too. Like, no game I've ever done is going to be perfect, but it lets me learn on what I can do better next time and become a better designer and be able to do that again. And as long as it keeps making money for the company and keeps making money for me, I can keep making mistakes and making new games and trying new things out, and some might work and some might not, but hopefully people will still enjoy seeing new products coming from me. And I'm excited to keep doing that because it lets me be creative, and it lets me be happy going into work, and it lets me kind of have a voice across, and it's so cool to have a voice in such a wide spectrum. And especially here at Essen, it lets me see how many people are influenced by what my brain is thinking. You know what I mean? And it's so cool, and it's so nice for people to recognize my efforts, and I really, really appreciate that.
That's great. That's great. I believe even having Colby by your side is like such a great support. We talked to him yesterday.
Yes, he's a great person, and he's been a great leader for our company. And having him as a collaboration has helped me grow so much as a designer, and helped me become a better person in general. I feel like we all help each other lift each other up, and we have a good sense of what makes us each tick and how we all bring interesting new things to the table. And it's been fun to have a team that just works together well and does amazing things and is able to bring so much joy to so many people.
That's great. Are you working as well on the new X-Road, the Lost in Space game?
Yeah, the Lost in Space game, I'll be 100% truthful here. I made 4 different versions of it. 4 different versions. They all were terrible. They were all terrible. So we're actually having Emerson, the designer of SpectreOps. He said he had an idea for it at this past Gen Con, and he is trying his version of it right now, and I'm super excited to have that because it's been something that's kind of been a very hard process to get to. What's funny, the difference in themes between Dead of Winter and Lost in Space is that Dead of Winter has, you know, a theme of zombies, and people kind of expect zombies. Lost in Space, oh my gosh, there's so many things that can happen in space. There's so much expanse, and I think like the craziness and the grand of all of that kind of made my brain skip. You know, so I had been having these other 2 game designs that I have been wanting to work on since before I designed Ashes that I've been wanting to work on for a long time. So I'm actually taking time to work on those, and Emerson's taking time to work on Lost in Space. We're going to be collaborating at BGG-Con. Hopefully he has an awesome product. If not, I'll go ahead and be working on the project again. I'm also working on Dead of Winter, the expansion too, that will be out at Gen Con. So, and expansions of Ashes that are also going to be out in a couple months. So there's a lot of stuff in the works that I'm very busy on. So I'm very happy to have Emerson kind of take a look at Lost in Space, and he's a fantastic designer. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Are you as well working on Seafall, maybe on art?
I am the art director on Seafall. Yeah, you guys have seen the cover already, so I went ahead and had working there. I'm also having all the characters be drawn up right now, so there's going to be sketches of characters that you'll be able to see, and all the islands were done for Seafall as well, and we have some more things that are going to be coming up in the captain's book. You guys probably don't know what any of this is, but lots of things are being worked on by me on Seafall for art direction. So getting people organized on that project is very fun because there's lots of different pieces to it. So, and it's an interesting looking project too.
Great, great. There is one thing that I always want to know about the game designers, especially those I really like. I want to know, who is Isaac Vega as a person, let's say outside gaming?
Oh my gosh. I'm lazy. I'm silly. I really like having fun. I really like having a good time. I like meeting new people. I really enjoy movies. I used to watch a lot of anime. That was a thing that I liked, but I don't watch it so much anymore. I only watch the ones that people think are very popular. And I've been starting to get into comic books, so I kind of like that a little bit. I never read comic books as a young person, so I kind of wanted to try that. And I'm just a nerd, like everybody else. You know, nothing really too special about me besides that. So I just, you know, I enjoy food. This food's good. Lots of different stuff. It's been fun to be here and try some new things. Turkish food is really good, by the way, everyone. I suggest it. So, and yeah, I'm just a normal guy that likes playing board games and likes having fun and likes things that are pretty and things like that.
Great. But as you became a designer a really short time ago, I believe you definitely remember, what were you dreaming or what were your plans before design?
Before design, I actually went to school after high school to be a video game designer.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do. And when I went to college and figured out what that would be like, I found out that it wasn't really for me. What they wanted, what they were wanting to teach me was to be a video game 3D modeler or a programmer, and I was like, I don't want to be designing other people's games. I want to be the person that's designing the project, And it's like, no. No one's ever going to listen to you until you're like 10 or 11 years into the industry because they want to make their own games. They don't want to listen to new guys' games. So I was just like, oh man, that was really discouraging. So I dropped out of college. I'm a college dropout. I'm sorry, everyone.
Same here, no worries.
And so I was like, oh, I'll grow up and I'll be an insurance salesman, and that'll be my life.
Well, that's much better than insurance sailor.
Yeah. So I was just like, man, but then I couldn't stop wanting to be creative. Like I just like wanted to be creative and I wanted to do things like that. So I ended up doing photography for a while, and I was just like, okay, I like that. But then I got introduced to board games and I was like, ooh, maybe I can do this. Maybe it's possible to do this. And luckily it ended up being possible, and that was fun. And there's still things I do want to do, like I want to eventually make a cartoon show, which is it's probably really weird, but I eventually want to do that. I'm working on trying to do my own comic as well. So there's things that I do have other outside hobbies, and trying to figure that out too, and just creating worlds. That's what I love to do. I love creating worlds and characters and ideas, and board games is just a wonderful way to do that because you get to make this entire awesome world and put it in a box and then give it to other people. And that's so much fun. And as long as I'm being creative and get to keep doing that, I could do it probably in any industry. But I'll keep doing board games until I drop. so it's just so much fun. So yeah, that's pretty much what my dreams were beforehand, and there's still a little bit of those there, and I'm just going to keep on working and whatever makes me happy and whatever works financially and all that kind of stuff.
Great, thanks a lot. Really enjoyed it. So really looking forward to your new games. If your first couple of games were so good and so successful, there have to be like so much more coming out.
Yes. I'm actually working on a mech game right now that is going to be hopefully a Crossroads Legacy mix. So it's going to be quite the big thing, and it's going to be a lot of work. It is a lot of work already. But I'm very, very excited about it because I really want to tell an interesting story there, and just make these awesome, cool miniatures and have a lot of cool campaigns and games going on there. So I'm excited about that project quite a bit. But it's probably going to be a little while out because it's a big one.
Great, thanks a lot. Really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate you guys taking the time, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys. And if you guys ever have any questions for me, you can email me at Isaac@PlatHatGames, or you can reach out to me on Twitter at IsaacsAshes. There.
Thanks. Bye.